All
Be much
right,
more
so
sucky.
Diane, you're up. How do you want me to introduce you? The iHub, but I mean, what do you want me to say?
Well, I'm kind of introducing myself these days as someone with a long history in the entrepreneurial ecosystem on all sides, having been an entrepreneur, having supported entrepreneurs as a leader of entrepreneurial support organizations, and having been on the investor side, both personally as well as running angel groups. So I'm kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to the entrepreneurial ecosystem.
All right, we'll just go with that instead of me asking you that question twice. So let's talk about your latest little effort that you're involved in. And I was at one of your initial meetings for the Innovator Advisor Community. I ran into you the week before we had lunch, and you said you need to come to this thing next week. And I walked in not knowing what exactly I was attending. So why don't you explain to everybody exactly what you do with iHub?
Yes, yes. Well, I'm working with the staff from the I-Core hub of the Great Lakes region, which happens to be based at the Center for Entrepreneurship at University of Michigan. This particular region has 16 research universities that are involved in the hub. And there are hubs all over the country. I-Core is a big national program that's funded by the National Science Foundation.
Hmm.
The people I'm working with include Mike Vitek and Danny Konachek, and they came to me to just talk about what's going on in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. They had identified an issue with some of the business accelerator programs that I-Core runs, in that these business accelerators, and not just I-Core, but many of them, are really great cohort-based programs, which means the entrepreneurs do a deep dive when they're involved in it, and they get really excited, lots of motivation behind it. They get some momentum going, they make some great connections. But oftentimes what they were seeing is that then when the program ends and the faculty researcher or the potential founder goes back to their normal life, a lot of the momentum disappears and things don't continue to happen for them. So what we wanted to do, what we were thinking about, is how do you create a community of support? So whether a faculty researcher or some kind of innovation creator comes forward and has something they think might be an opportunity to form a venture, or it might be something that could be valuable in the marketplace, how can we provide them with a community of support? And that's before they even go into any program, and also as they come out of programs. So what we envision is a community that of very knowledgeable advisors from all walks of life that can be part of a bigger network for them of support that will guide them to some of the entrepreneurial support programs and opportunities, will make connections for them in their industry, will help them connect with, as Skip was talking about earlier, about how important it is to be more than a founder, to have a team, to have that person that knows sales and that person that knows business. And this, what we were picturing is this is a way we could help them make the connections so that they could create that team.
Hmm. Okay, I hear you have about 70 advisors involved in this community currently.
Yeah, so far we have 70. We had a kickoff breakfast back in February. And then in March, we had our first opportunity for those advisors to meet some innovators. We had four innovators that we introduced to the group. And then we had a breakfast meeting a couple of weeks ago. And then in May, we will be having our next evening matchmaking, where we'll be introducing 5 other innovators. And the idea behind this is just to really be able to connect people with a wider network. Because with I-Core, you're dealing primarily with faculty researchers. You're dealing with people that are in a lab. They don't have a lot of connection in the business community or in the entrepreneurial ecosystem.
And so,
Okay, and I saw that you have had a couple of partner business accelerators involved in this effort too, including 100,000 Ideas in Flint, and also a place I'm moderately familiar with, Lean Rocket Lab in Jackson. And the reason I'm familiar with them is because they're one of the few sort of manufacturing and physical product oriented business accelerators around, along with the Centropolis Accelerator that we have here at Lawrence Tech.
Yes, and Centropolis is another accelerator that we're communicating with. We're working with the 100,000 Ideas in Flint, and they're helping us, actually helping us with the very early stage innovators. And when I use the term innovators, it's because they're not entrepreneurs yet. They haven't designed that business plan. They haven't written the executive summary. They just have an innovative product, they think. And so 100,000 Ideas in Flint is helping them articulate what they have so that we can actually use that presentation to help them introduce themselves to the advisor community in language that most of us can understand without necessarily needing to be mechanical engineers or biotech experts or that type of thing.
In our pre-show communications, I thought it was interesting the explanation you gave for why you think this is needed, because innovators aren't always great communicators, right? And that's one of the things you want to help them with.
Absolutely. And you can picture many scientists and researchers that are digging deep into these technologies aren't also really into networking and going out and connecting with a bunch of people. So we feel they need help with that, especially if they're going to create this team that's going to have somebody that can do selling, somebody that can help them with customer discoveries, that, as Skip was describing it, somebody who's not going to be shy to pick up a phone and talk to a potential customer and really get information and a dialogue going. And we realize that most people that are scientists and researchers aren't also great business people and salespeople. I mean, people have a different mix of skills, and that's why a team is important. And that's why we want to bring forward this community of advisors where we have a lot of people that are good at those things and want to help and want to participate on a startup team.
So where do all these folks fit? You've been talking about all these various groups that you're working with, accelerators, whatnot, but where does all this fit together for the entrepreneur?
Well, we are very, very early in the cycle. So we think of ourselves as potentially a feeder system for groups like New Enterprise Forum that will help an entrepreneur hone their pitch and prepare it. We also feel like this is an opportunity for us to work with innovators that could potentially get some of the non-dilutive funding that Skip and David were talking about with things like the SBIR grants. We have a lot of people in Michigan that have had experience writing grants and helping startups with grants. And we want to be sure that the innovators that are coming forward now are connecting with those people that can help them. So that's why we call them innovators, not entrepreneurs, because we're kind of pre-entrepreneurship, helping them just really identify whether do they have those things that Skip listed? Do they have the product that works? And that's why we're introducing them to people in their industry and people that are making the purchasing decisions for companies that might buy the kind of product that they're developing. And we want to be sure they're connecting with the other elements of a healthy team. If they're not a natural salesperson or not somebody that feels comfortable with finance or cash flow, are we connecting them with somebody that can really kind of take a look at this? And then with customer discovery, that's a really important thing to take a look at before you spend a lot of time trying to develop an entrepreneurial venture. You want to be sure that what you're developing really does have a market and that people would pay for it, and kind of de-risk it before you're out there saying, I've got this new company, we're going to be selling this new sensor device into space applications. Before you're out there doing that and working so hard to get angel investment or some pre-seed money from some of the programs we have in Michigan, you want to be sure that you really do have something that's worth investing that kind of time and energy into.
So you're not only looking for entrepreneurs, you're looking for advisors as well, right? So how would an
Yes,
advisor get involved?
absolutely. We are more looking for advisors than we are looking for innovators, because the innovators will find us. The advisors are the people we want to let people know that no matter what your area of expertise, if you're interested, come to one of our events, learn about what we're doing, because we need all hands on deck. We need all types of people with all kinds of backgrounds. And a lot of the things we're looking at or hearing about, there's, just if you've been out living life and are, aware of different products and issues that are trying to be solved, you can have valuable input into what these companies are trying to do. So it's really open to everyone that has an interest, that has skill or perspective that they can offer, and they want to get involved. We look for people that are genuinely curious about some of these new technologies, some of the new innovations, just like to geek out on what the latest 3D printing technology might do, that type of thing. So we don't require that advisors do anything more than attend meetings and say what their thoughts are on a particular product or on research that's being done, share their connections. They might not know anybody that's an expert in sensors, but they might know somebody that knows somebody. And if they can make those introductions and bring those people in, that's all we're asking for. Now, if they want to do more, that's great. And we have different paths for different participation. We are interested in people that want to be the first contact with these innovators, like want to talk to them about what they're working on in their lab, to help them really kind of explore whether there's a reasonable path forward, whether they'd be interested in going through some of the programs or steps you go through to bring a product forward. We have people that are volunteering on that committee to work with the very, very early innovators, having those first conversations. And then on the other end of our spectrum is attending the event, meeting the innovators, asking your questions, determining whether you have contacts that might be useful to them, determining whether you're interested in that particular innovation or that product, and whether you want to be on a team to continue to work with that innovator, whether you simply want to make some introductions for them. We have all kinds of different ways to participate, and it's really different than most programs in that it's very driven by individual interests and capabilities. It's not a set program. It continues to evolve. We don't do a one-to-one matching of innovators with mentors. It's really more organic than that, and really up to everyone's level of interest and desire to get involved.
Or how would people get a hold of you to get involved in this effort, both on the entrepreneur or the innovator end and the advisor end?
Well, innovators are generally coming to us through the Center for Entrepreneurship at University of Michigan or through innovation partnerships at University of Michigan. So they tend to find ways to find the IHub group. For advisors that are interested, they can also reach out to the Center for Entrepreneurship at the Engineering School at University of Michigan and reach out to Mike Vitek and Danny Konachek, or they can just get a hold of me, and I'm easy to find at Diane.Durance@gmail.com. And I'm happy to get them invitations to the next meeting so that they can really participate in this.